Hello and welcome to all my combo lords. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to have a little room stream because I don't know if my classroom is the weather that would destroy my computer at the moment. It's raining out there a bit and probably soaking the clocks a bit, but it gives us a good excuse to hang out here and look at some fun shapes, graphs, equations, and sequences and stuff. Maybe get some visitors from my cats through the window, we shall see. And one quick thing I wanted to let you folks know is for many people who have asked me, wash your damn lab coat. Well, this is what it looks like right after it was washed. This is fresh out of the wash, and as you can see, although it may be slightly less muddy, a lot of the marker residue doesn't come off. It still has its paint, it still has its burn marks, it still has its dice fused inside it. Where's the die? Still has its little dye fused inside it. So, to all the folks who want the lab coat washed, bad news, you gotta wait until I buy a new lab coat to see a clean one. This one has sustained some damage. There will be a new lab coat in grade -2, and then I can have this coat as a backup to lend any classroom assistants or visitors, or to wear 2 lab coats if I'm doing something extra dangerous. So we will have a second, fresher lab coat in April when grade -2 launches. And for now, you guys are going to have to deal with a few stains. So I hope everyone's having a nice day. It's been raining on and off, although it looks pretty nice right now. I didn't want to risk the computer damage hanging outside. So let's pull up some of the fun activities that I like to do here on stream with you folks, such as our Desmos graphs. There was a new family of shapes I was fiddling with, and you can feel free to leave any thoughts or comments or things you want me to chat about or questions in the chat, because it will be a slightly casual video today. While I do show you some cool families of shapes that I've been messing around with, some new types of creatures and landscapes I discovered, it'll also be a casual video where we'll be chatting a little bit. So feel free to leave any thoughts or questions in the comments. Now, to start off our graphing extravaganza, what we got to do is just show a classic example of a simple shape mutating into a wild landscape. And the example that I love is the one that I wrote on my wall. We have room for more on writing on the walls if any more equations are crucial enough. But that one that I wrote on the wall was based on a circle equation, which is not multiplied but added, equaling, if I say 1, we get a radius 1. If I say a, then I get a radius of square root of a. So adjusting a constant on that end. Depending on how big a is, the square root of that will be the radius. But it's basically equations for various circles. Now, if I just took a sine curve with the variables being the sine interaction, like y is sine of x, that has a nice little loopy back and forth. But what if I said the sine of each part of that circle equation, like sine of the x coordinate squared plus sine of the y coordinate squared equaled a? And let's start by setting a to 1. Bam! Look at this landscape. Now, since it can sometimes look even cooler with the inequalities, let's see what happens when sine of x squared plus sine of y squared is less than or equal to a. Or we could say greater than or equal if we want it to be that type. Now let's see what happens when we adjust a. Whoa, and we get these really cool landscapes that we've already played around with a bit. So one of the games that I've been doing for fun on and off stream is finding what other variations of little equation cues that don't have too much going on, or else they give the graphing computer trouble. You can't have like sine of the x squared or the tangent of the y squared, or too much going on will just make the computer have trouble showing it. Even this, if I zoom out far enough, it has trouble. This equation has fine detail at this level. We're seeing gaps. If I zoom in, they get rid of that message because they're showing everything clearly. we can see what it's supposed to look like out there. These sort of infinite pebbles of different dimensions. Now, if we change this and try some other things, the new family I was investigating is throwing some square roots in the mix. First, let's just see what it looks like if we graph a square root. What is y is square root of x? Well, that makes sense because up to 1, we're getting a curve that here it's shooting up a little faster, slowing off. And what if we want to say something like, I want to put a square root on both sides, but the problem is that if I put square root of y equals square root of x, we just get this line because it's too balanced. So like if I say the square root of y equals the square root of the sine of x, now we get these little separated bumps. And while this looks a little boring, I like when they get separated, because sometimes we can create little landscapes that are made up of individual critters. Now, right now, these critters are not only a little boring, but they're all just hanging out on the axis. They're weighed down by gravity. These creatures are like humans. They're just stuck on the ground. But maybe we'll make some creatures that are more like little algae blooms floating at sea if we fiddle around a little more. Now, first what we got to try is an inequality just to see what gets colored. So these are more specifically now the parts where it's less than that. Now what if I say sine here? We get all over these hourglass shapes. I could also switch this, say when it's greater than or equal, and I'm getting that. It does make me wonder what's happening in the area in between there. What it thinks, whether it thinks those are, which one it thinks is greater. Those areas might just not work there in the equation. So what we're going to try now is if we put in something like a variable a, we can mutate them. See, look, we get these shapes bend down. Oh, and they go at different rates. Look, this one's further than that one, I think. Are they? Or no, maybe these are all at the same rate here still. So if I fiddle my a, they meet and then they go the other way. Now, what if I put an a on both sides? Now it's just not doing anything because it's too balanced. The a doesn't change anything. But what if I put one of the a's in the sine? Whoa, it's having trouble seeing this. So it has these bumps. And they stretch. And then they meet. That's trippy. So this is like, stalactites and stalagmites in a cave. So you got your floors and ceilings, a bunch of little cave levels. You got your stalactites and stalagmites, and at some point they glitch together. Now, what happens if we remove the a's for a moment, but we want to know changing one of these to something like a tangent? Well, now we get these type. Oh, no, there's no a to adjust. So we're just going to try a few switcheroos. That's a switcheroo. And here's what I want to try next is if I put something like a but make it one of the variables in front, that's a whole nother story. It's not adjustable, but it might be wacky. If I put, for example, just a y or an x in front of here, we get some new stuff. Now I get these bulbs at one level and then all these little guys. But what if I also put x there? Whoa! This is the one that I found that I put in the thumbnail here that made me go, okay, we're doing graphing shapes for part of our stream today. All right. So this is a whole landscape. Check it out. You got your interesting center. You got your hourglasses at a diagonal. Then you have these other diagonals that have these different, like, equation amounts of narrowing at different spots they are. If I go down this line, they get more and more square. If I go down certain lines, they get thinner or more separated. So this is a whole landscape. Now, if I switch them and I put Y there, ooh, that's interesting, and X there, we get a slightly different landscape. We can also try still throwing our A's in. Like, if I put an A in one and out of the other, something will change. Oh, we're getting longer. Are they going to meet? No. Well, having trouble on the computing. Okay. Whoa! Okay. That hit me with surprise. Got a little 8 right there. A couple eye shapes. Okay. What's going on here? This is interesting. We got our little 8 shooting out its laser beams. Oh, whoa, 8 went away. 8 is only there when A is a ooh, infinity! We get our infinity here. So this is an infinity landscape. That's pretty fun. So, now, what levels of A does infinity? So at 1, we get this thing. 1 is the same as if I didn't have an A in there, because it's multiplicative on both of these. As I go slightly higher on A, it separates that thing. And then it gets more and more infinity-esque. Well, that's pretty neat. All right. Let me take a peek at the chat. I do like to spend a little time on our more casual streams chatting and answering questions and stuff. So let me pull that open on my phone here. And while I do that, I guess, let's try and give it one that it can try and go between. Is it going to have too much trouble animating this? We'll just zoom it in a bit so it can try to. Whoa, that's crazy. You got to pause it at just the right time. All right, how do I get to my chat on here? Okay, love you all. Hello for commenting. You all are super awesome. Getting your spot as a rare role in history. Anyone who, the chat logs become public on the video after a while, like when the stream goes public on the channel right after I post it, it takes a while for YouTube to process it in the way that it has the chat log, like a day or something. Kind of annoying. But then it's on there for all the old streams. And anyone who has a chat comment during grade -1 is in a pretty rare spot in history. You know, we are going to expand at a rate where eventually, before too long, there will be more combo lords who joined after grade -1 than before. So thank you all for joining me at this early stage in history. So someone's saying the areas that remain white in between may have given a complex thing. It is possible that if we were to be able to map this using imaginary numbers, we may see shapes in those gaps. So that'd be pretty cool. Remember, I'm not using Desmos because it's like the greatest software in the world. It's because it's super good for an easy to figure out one. And I'm not a tech guy. So someday I'll work with people with some crazy graphing softwares that are beyond this. This is just a really great one for if you just want to like figure it out from scratch without having to know much. So, people have some requests for some. It's a little hard to read how the ones with the left and the right there. I'm not sure exactly. I could try that at some point. What is my all-time favorite number? Well, I made a short very recently. I've been dropping some shorts this week on the channel that is about how 6 is the most underrated number. So maybe we'll take a little chat about 6 today again. But also, I would say that the best number is probably 0. So 1 is pretty powerful too. Now, 1 seems boring, but I don't know. If you look at the roots of unity and you look at how to build an algebra from succession and you look at things like that, 1 is pretty dope too. Now, of course, then you get like -1 is pretty cool. It's a whole new landscape. 1/2 implies a new landscape. I implies a new landscape. Pi is in circles. The golden ratio is pretty dope. E is all over. So all of those are pretty classic all-star numbers. You can't, those are the top tier numbers, you know. But I'm gonna say 6 is the most underrated. I made a short making a long list of some of the things that 6 has going for it. Also, my most recent episode on the main channel that's linked in the description here for anyone who didn't catch it yet, all about calendars and Friday the 13th and stuff. In that one, even though it's mostly about still having 7-day week type calendars, at the very end when I was like, well, here's my mathematical idea of how a calendar could work, I did have a 6-day week proposal that works pretty good. So, first we'll try and get everyone to respect threvens. Getting threven in the dictionary is our first stage to having a chance of something like base 6 being accepted. In fact, I was going to tell you a funny joke of a conspiracy theory, but oh wait, it's in one of my books, so you'll have to wait for some of my fiction. How do you make half of infinity? Good question. Maybe you could try and invent some algebras where infinity over 2 means something, but you will lose other qualities of your algebra, so you're not going to be able to add that and keep everything. So, someone says something about the trig functions, pi is always somewhere, and it's true that when we're using these trig functions, pi is lurking, and like right here, there's pi. You see the top of the 8? That looks a lot like pi. Although, is it? Because we're at a random... Yeah, it is. No matter how I change the A, the top of the 8 stays the same. You know where it is? Pi. So, that's pretty neat. And with these... I bet if I set this to 1, then other things are pi too. But yeah. So... Pi's all over in these things. In fact, a good example of pi being all over is we can try and neutralize pi. You want to see what I mean? Well, okay, first no pi's. Check this out. I got a square grid. However, its square amount is something weird. What are we going to do about that? It's a pi amount of square. What if I want a normal square? Let's stick pi in there. Oh, cool. I got a square of dimension 1 now. So if I don't put the pi in the sign, my squares are pi. But if I put the pi in the sign, it double negatives it practically. Not exactly why, but it hits it at just the right spot to get me to 1. So, it's true that sine will be hiding pi, so will tan and those trig guys. Circles and triangles hide in all of that. They're also related to right triangles. So we have right triangles hiding in a lot of the ways we could analyze this as well. And people are wondering also about philosophically half of infinity, and that's a whole nother interesting story. You know, your philosophical interpretations of what infinity could be in addition to your numbers. I think that infinity can represent being one dimension higher than something sometimes. And that sometimes it means you're on a scale that is at one dimensionality off. If you are seeing it infinitely and you want to represent it finitely. I'll explain more about that in some episodes sometime. But it is an interesting thought of ways you could argue whether infinity would be a concept you'd want to define half of or treat that as an undefinable thing. Someone says if they're not Demotro, try some equation. Well, that it does tempt me, but you know, I'm not really one to fall for reverse psychology. So, all right, everyone but me, try that one. Um, so got a lot of cool graphs here. We're gonna do some more graph equations too, to fiddle around with some other ways of doing our landscapes of creatures. Some of them relate to substituting some of these with tangents while we have these x's and y's in here. So let's try that. We don't need the a in there yet. We're just going to try this for now. Whoa, need to be a closer scale. We are way too zoomed out for it to try and understand. So this is when, let's put them on their same side, when this equation is like that. So now let's try and make some of them tangents. And what was the way I separated these creatures that was quite interesting? That's a different type of creature and ray. Now, it's also kind of interesting to look at them as equal. These are just the points where it's equal, gives us like an even clearer picture. This one's like these weird beams attracted toward the middle. It's like magnetically attracted toward here, kind of. And then if we do this, we see a little clearer some of our like eights and infinities and shapes. And here we get that landscape of pure X's and then different types of hourglasses in different ways. Now, I'm really interested in these landscapes where we can make individual creatures. So I want you guys to be on the lookout for ones where we can find ways to put individual creatures there. Now, we can try seeing if it can handle putting squares in here. That's interesting. I don't think it's handling this right, but yeah, whoa, it's like this weird hallway going up before it meets. That's trippy. And then we're going to throw a squared in there. That's interesting. Now they're shooting up this way. Let's make it an inequality again. And what if we try something new? Let's try putting them on the same side somehow. The square root of x squared plus y squared together equaling something. Now we'll throw a sign in a minute. So here we still get the circle because I've reverse engineered this sort of, the circle equation. But what if I throw a sign in there? Is this going to work? Nah. Oh, it worked for a minute. What happened? Circles. A lot of circles. Alright, let's separate them in here. Ooh. And that's a good one. This is a cool landscape. Whoa. Why is the less than making that part filled and not that? That's weird. This part's just the border for some reason, and this part's like it and in. Whoa. Wait. They're getting an edge? Whoa. Look, the inequality is like making them leak this river edge. Whoa. What the heck? This one's wild. Whoa. This is cool. This is like an interesting landscape painting. Bunch of waves. Bunch of missing ovals for some reason. Whoa. Whoa. This is wild. Now, let's replace some of these. Yo! So what if we just set it to like some standards? Like if I set it to 0, it's nothing. If I set it to 1, what do we get? Whoa, it's like that thing from before, but with all this extra stuff around it. Wait, let me switch the inequality and see what happens. Wait, now it looks normal. Now it looks like we have these weird edges. Whoa. That's wild. That's crazy. All right. Now, we haven't tried them both being tangents, and we haven't tried them both being multiplied. If they're both tangents, it's a little circular. Woo, circular turning to square. Square there, circular there. You ever wanted a circle with a square cut out of it? There you go. You got a circle, a lot of circles with different squares and rectangles cut out of them. But right in that middle, you see that good old circle with a square cut out? How about if I swap the inequality? Whoa. Okay. Nope. Doesn't like that direction. Whoa. That's pretty neat. Now, what if we'll set it back to 1 for a minute, but what if we multiply them? Ooh, this time we get this weird star coming out. And then we turn to... Oh, okay, this is cool. So look. It comes from a star in the middle, this weird pointy thing. Then it bulges out. And at some point, it passes right here being like a sideways squircle. A sideways square with rounded edges. Then it becomes a full circle. Then it becomes a correctly oriented squircle. We get 2 phases of the square circle. One right there and one right there. And then it approaches a square. And it approaches a very square-looking grid. And over here, it approaches a very circular-looking grid. Well, a very wavy one, and then a straight circular one. Oh, it literally is circular when it's 1. When it's less than 1, we go the wavy direction where things have all these bumps. When it's more than 1, we first pass that wavy direction and then go so far it gets square. And if, yeah, down there doesn't work. Okay. Now, what if we multiply, but 1 is a sign? Ooh. Whoa. So it approaches this square grid again. But as we go this way, we get this thing. That's trippy. Now, what if we put them both as sine? Oh. That's interesting. We like have a square grid, and then we get these holes cut out of it. Will this direction of inequality work? It just likes these parts. Wow. Okay. Now, let's try removing the exponent from 1 or fiddling with the exponents. That gives us that. Kind of similar. Now, what if we put the exponent on the outside? This is Squircle land. You want an equation for a bunch of squircles? There you go. Squircle land. We can modify them if you want them more. If you want them to just touch, you go there. If you want them to be hanging out real close and pretty squircly, you go there. And we can also make them approach circular. Polka dot land. We got Polka Dot Land hanging out right next to Squircle Land. What happens if I do the other trig functions with it outside? Ooh, this one's good. Whoa, look. On this end, we got like that. Whoa, it turns into the outside of these squircly guys. Little stars between the squircles. Then as we go forward, well, down in this case, in my A, they flex down into a square grid for a moment. When A is 1, it's perfectly square. And then they bulge out until they're the other side of the squircle. This is weird. There's like you're staring at like a wall pattern and you ate something weird that starts kicking in. It's like, oh. So now let's try plus with the squares on the outside though. These equations are loving them some squircles. Well, this one's boring. Oh, not anymore. This is another one where we get, you want your polka dots purple on white. You want a squircles going sideways. You want a perfect square. You want the opposite color of either of those. You're good to go. Now, cubed might mess it up because sometimes cubed gives it trouble going one direction, but seems cool. I like cubed. That's interesting. Yeah, this is cool. Whoa. Okay. To the A. Too much going on. Whoa. Whoa, this one has like a million different phases. What the heck? So look, squares. These are like almost octagons. Weird thing. Whoa, yep. It's shooting all over on this one. This is too much. What the heck is going on here? We got these little like spade-like things in our stars. And then we just got outlineless squares. Oh, this is kind of cool. Whoa, we're getting all sorts of gaps in these. Well, it looks like it kind of adds up. Like this, if this one was like a bullet shooting over there, like a ray that wide, and this one's like a ray shooting down that wide, it like adds up to about that much. If that one's going versus that one, you see how this is like, I'm pretty wide, and this one's like, I'm pretty thin, and it follows those dimensions. And then like here, it's like they're both the same dimension, so it looks more square-like. Here it's like a really thin one this way and like a wider one that way. All right. Multiply. Okay. Tangent multiply. Okay. One more experiment. Those were multiplying. What about dividing? Now this is going to be crazy. We need to remove these. We need to put these back to squares. Oh, it's one of these fellas. And then, what if we put them to A's? Oop. Get a lot of hills crossing over in different weird ways. What if we put them to each other? A lot of strange hills doing a dance. And then, what if we sign them? Oop. We're getting a lot of strange hourglasses here. A little blob lands in this side for once. That's a little rarer that our blob lands in that quadrant. So, I like how these are like the 4 landscapes. You got your 2 hourglass opposite ones. You got your blob land. You got your square land. Alright. So, let's see what else we could try here. Let's isolate the square roots and put them separate. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Alright, and we gotta try our variations. Oh, these are strange little, like, look like little pipes in Mario or something. Yeah, we get these new shapes. These guys are a kind of new addition to our toolkit. What if we multiplied them? Oh, strange blob there, normaler blobs there. Oh, I love these landscapes. All right, we're gonna switch activities pretty soon, though. So why don't we read the chat for a moment? We'll go back to one of our classics. One of the other ones I put on the wall we can put as a backdrop again is when we multiply the signs together and say that equals, or let's say less than or equal to the sign of them divided. And whoa, this one's pretty wild. We get this infinite river and these strange pill-like things and all these blobs that are symmetrical, and we get this like beam of white coming splashing down and its opposite beams of these colors splashing inward. So that one's pretty crazy. Let's throw an A in there somewhere, and that A puts it there. If I put an A in these, then that just grows it if I put it in both. If I put it in one there, it stretches it upward. If I put it in 2 places, it gets more square. So we got a lot of possible adjustments there, but if we just say it equaling a different thing, that's a good one. Let's see if this one looks good animated. Oh, it's going too fast, sort of. They come up, and then, whoa, okay, yeah, this is crazy. So look, as we're coming in, they turn into this weird thing. And then, whoa, when it's 0, they're squares again. And then they blur out like that. That's wild. Okay, so take a peek at that while I take a peek at the chat. Tell me what you guys think this looks like. I like seeing what strange natural phenomena happens in there. So going through some chats, someone says, what should they call me? You can call me Demotro, and spelled with 3 O's. And someone said that there's a good Matt Parker video about perimeters of squircles. I agree. I've seen that video. It is good. I kind of forget its content. I saw it a while ago, but anything that guy does is recommendable. Someone's saying it looks like electrons and decay of things, and I love how it looks as strange, natural occurrences, like the same way that natural selection and evolution work together to make eyes a certain shape. We see eye shapes in here. The same way that when I light a fire, the wind mixed with just the way combustion works make the fire look away. We see shapes like that here. We see shapes of water and fire and growth and flowers. And it goes to show how much math must secretly be in those things. Someone's asking if I came up with these tests myself. I guess you could say I did. Some of the first Desmos graphs I tried in my first stream, I might have looked up from somewhere online, but to be like, are there any cool Desmos graphs? But usually when you look up Desmos graphs that are, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only person who's used Desmos on a stream. It's a pretty popular app. I've never seen anyone do it, but probably people have. These equations that I fiddle around with, I think are pretty unique because when you look up cool Desmos graphs, I was able to find a few, but usually people use these like limiting factors on a bunch where they're like, this is true for this little sector. This is another equation true for that sector. This is another equation true for that little sector, which feels kind of like cheating for me. They're like telling it where to do what, and they have like 10 different equations. And then it's like, wow, it looks like Mickey Mouse. Big deal. You like told it exactly where to paint. So I'm more interested in what just like one or two graphs put together with not that complicated setup can generate. And I haven't been able to find that much online when I looked briefly. Found like a few posts of cool graphs, but most of these I've just had to find by fiddling around and having fun. And let's see. Someone said they drew a smiley face. We did that once in here in a previous stream. It was fun. And it looks quite glorious. Someone said it looked like a lava lamp exploding. I can, see that on some of these. Got that lava lamp-esque vibe. Now, we're going to change activities for a little bit. And why don't we have a little vote in the chat for whether people would rather talk about numbers that we were, like numbers like 6 or like the 13 we passed or like 14 or stuff, with the Wikipedia versus the chat robot, or if they would want to look at sequences of a bunch of integers that follow some property on the OEIS. So leave a vote if you want OEIS or robot/Wikipedia, and that will be what we'll do. In the meantime, I'm just going to throw a few more fiddles around into this, see what happens when we have A in a few spots. And after that, we'll switch to one of those activities. Another fun activity we'll do in a stream when I can go outside, maybe we'll do that in a little bit later today, is I found some tier lists online about classroom supplies, and I thought it would be smart to rank which classroom supplies I should restock for grade -2, because a lot of my supplies have been quite destroyed by the rain. We're gonna have to check out there in a bit. Ooh, everyone wanted sequences. Okay, so we're going for the OEIS. We got definitely more votes for that. We got a 4-0. Someone said, is my room painted green screen on purpose or on porpoise? It is not on purpose. It was because I like green, I like nature, and I thought maybe it'll give me a good natural vibe to have some green walls. And then when I was in the store buying paint, one of the shades was called lizard green, and I was like, that sounds pretty fresh. So I bought lizard green, and that's what it is. So then I realized later that this could make a decent green screen. It's kind of bumpy, so I'm not positive if it'll work well. However, I should probably be using this for this stream, but I didn't set it up yet. A light that I can try using now. So maybe this will help me with the green screen and stuff. We can even test that in a minute, see if it helps the stream. Getting more supplies for grade -2. because grade -2, I'm trying to slightly make the production quality, the sound and the look even a little better, but while still, don't worry, we'll still have our chaotic, natural, homemade vibe. Um, so OEIS is what we got plenty of votes for. We're going to head over there. And first, we're just going to do an example of us calculating something for fun. So here's a thought that I often have when I'm playing around with numbers. I like the idea of stumbling into a pattern that numbers have or a sequence, and that will be whether I find that it's already discovered and named, and then I'm like, cool, I found out about a new thing. Or it'll be a connection with, it's already a sequence I even already knew in disguise, and that's cool, it's a new connection. Or it's something new, which is cool, because then it's like, maybe this isn't very known yet. And in any case, it's fun to investigate. And what's kind of tricky about a sequence is to make it have an unpredictable, non-obvious rule. And a challenge I like doing sometimes is, can you make a rule applied to numbers that would be iterated, that you like apply it to a number, then apply it to the result, then apply it to the result, and so on? Or a rule that you, or let's start with that, a way of iterating a simple rule that makes numbers sometimes go up and sometimes go down. It's harder than it sounds. If you say like, okay, maybe I'll say the rules like, it's x squared minus 2x or something for each term. Well, then depending on your starting term, you're either going to be shrinking or growing. And so it's like hard to make one that sometimes goes up and sometimes goes down. And a really cool example of that is what's called an aliquot sequence that I put in a main channel episode once, which is adding up the proper divisors of a number, the factors apart from the number itself. And so if you do that and you iterate it, numbers go in weird cycles and form clubs and stuff. And so I was thinking, like, what are some ways you could apply a little process to numbers that would lead you on a little cycle? And so I was trying to figure out different ways like that, and maybe we'll try and experiment with one of those in a minute and test it on here. But part of why I love the OEIS is when I fiddle around with things like that, I can be like, well, if you start with 1 and do this weird rule to it ongoing or whatever, or start with 2, is that already on here? What names or notes do they have about that? Now, like for a simple example, let's say we wanted to know a list for numbers that based on their size, this isn't going to be an iterated process, just going to be a list. Let's say we wanted to know for numbers, what happens when you take their divisor sum, which is how much all their factors add to, including themselves, minus their number of divisors, which is sort of like from level 1 of the divisor function to level 0. We'll learn more about the divisor function in a full episode soon, when we learn about these fellows called friendly numbers and solitary numbers that have to do with something called an abundancy index. So that's an episode coming up in either late grade -1 or early grade -2. But let's just trust me for now that we're sort of talking about level 2 minus level 1 of this divisor function. But what we could translate that to is, what do the divisors add up to minus how many were there? And let's say I say for the number 1, well, let's make a little table. Let me make this so this can stand up somewhere. Let me make myself big for a second. We're going to do a little investigation here on the whiteboard, and then we'll see. I'm assuming this probably is on the OEIS. This is an example of a sequence that I haven't ever checked on the OEIS, but I would very much guess they would have this. So let's say, because it's just like a simple enough rule that someone's probably found a pattern relating to it. So let's say we have a table of numbers. Here's our natural numbers going up. And we'll start with 1. And now we're going to say, what is their divisor sum? So that added to 1. That one's factors add to 3, add to 4. That one's factors add to 7, 6. Now what if I say, how many divisors did they have? 1, 2, 2, 3, 2. Now, if I minus that top column from the bottom column, then we're going to get 0, 1, 2, 4, 4. And let's go to 6, just in case that helps any sequence looking. 6 has divisor sum of 12, and it has 4. Difference is 8. So now we're going to see, does the OEIS have this? Well, let's go one at a time. Let's look at each of these sequences. We're going back to the OEIS with me in the corner. So let's see this first one. What do they have to say? Okay, no, we're going to go for fun. I was just realized, I was like, okay, out of these 3 sequences, wait a minute, there are technically 4 sequences. So for fun, let's look at that. And in fact, actually for fun, first, you got to see this. This is kind of funny. The sequence that's all ones. Look how many different ways they have to describe it. Number of ways of writing. N means like the nth term. So it's like, for the nth term, this is the number of ways of writing. 1 is the number of ways of writing it as a product of primes. That's the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Number of ways of writing n as sum of distinct powers of 2. Continued fraction for the golden ratio. The partial sums of this have 1 then infinite zeros. The partial sums of this give the natural numbers, which is our top sequence on there, which is a sequence. So that's why we're including it. But there's a lot of ways they describe the all ones sequence. Kind of funny. It's actually interesting mathematical. How many ways could you describe this function or this sequence? So then when we take our partial sums of that, add up how much has happened at each stage, we get our natural numbers, which is why if we do that again and add up the partial sums, we get the triangular numbers, which is why I actually think of the natural numbers as, in a way, the pre-triangular numbers, the level before. And in a way, this is the pre-triangular numbers. Sounds silly, but I'll show you more about what I mean about that in an episode, that there are logical ways of thinking that the triangular numbers are just 2 levels past this. Can also be seen in Pascal's triangle. This is the outer layer. This is the next rows. So here's our natural numbers, although that sometimes is known to include 0. That's not a debate we're going to get into today. We'll save that debate for another day, whether it is or isn't. And there's not a strict answer for if it is or isn't. It really relates on what's more useful for the field you're in. So we can call these the positive integers to be safe, and then we won't get all of the 0 is a natural number fans mad. So there's a lot of ways they define this too, our natural numbers. But let's jump forward a little bit from there to the sequence of how many divisors did the natural numbers going up have. We're going to level 2 first, because that seems like the first stage here. How many divisors did they have? 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. Now we're already getting to a way that's useful. Let's say that you wanted to know this, but you didn't know the term for it. If you didn't know that this is called taking, like, I want to know the, you could say number of divisors on Google, but like, for the other one, if you're trying to say the sum of divisors, sometimes it's hard to find the right path for like the right thing that is being talked about if you don't know the term. But on the OEIS, you just need to know a few examples of it in a row. And here we go. We have the number of divisors of n, which when they say sigma 0 of n, that's when I was saying it's the 0th level of this divisor function. Also can be known as tau of n, but that can be confusing because that can be known as many things sometimes get that name. So there's also a lot of things it happens to be. So it says it's, let's see, a lot of fun facts. Now let's see if they happen to have the other levels. They're definitely going to have this one, the sum of the divisors. Sigma 1, we're on level 1 now. the sum of the divisors. And we got a lot of facts here that you guys could read later. You can, look this up with that number if you ever need. And this is a legit enough site that I've seen math books quote this and be like, see A000203 for more numbers. I mean, not this exact one, but say this form of telling you go to the OEIS and look up one of these. Now we're going to see if they have the difference that we saw. 0, 1, 2. Oh, this is funny. This is a trick powers of 2 sequence, sort of. We got 1, 2, 4, 4, 8. What the heck's going on there? Sum of divisors of n minus the number of divisors of n looks kind of powers of 2 like near the beginning. And there's also other ways to define it, like these other things that would have given us the same sequence. That's one of my favorite things about this site, how you'll see multiple ways of defining a rule, or multiple different rules that lead you to the same list of numbers. And someone wonders what number series is one level above triangular, and that's the tetrahedral numbers, which we can go more into in the future, but since I'm not sure exactly how soon I'll make an episode about polyhedral numbers, which I do want to make very soon, it's going to be multiple episodes probably, because I have an episode I want to make about the relationship between triangular and square numbers. I have one about how all of these meta-triangular numbers, like triangular and tetrahedral, are in Pascal's triangle, and the traits that Pascal's triangle has in different mods. And there's others as well that are very fun, like what I nickname highly, and I think I've seen this term before maybe, highly polyhedral numbers. Numbers that are polyhedral in multiple ways in terms of being these figurate number sequence numbers. Highly polygonal numbers are numbers that would be like a square number and a triangular number and a pentagonal number or something, if you could find one of those. Difficult quest. So let's look real quick for fun and see that tetrahedral numbers. Well, let's just look at Pascal's triangle real quick. Pascal's triangle can be defined a lot of ways. It's this classic array. And one way of defining it is that you make a border that's all ones. And then from any 2 new cells, add up to the one under it. So like 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. So each square is built from the sum of the 2 above it, except there's like a barrier of ones. And these numbers can also be defined as what's called the binomial coefficients if you go sideways. They're expansions of these simple things called binomial expansions lead to these as coefficients. So there's a few ways to construct this, but what it also is this line going down here is triangular. What am I talking about? We're getting there. This line is that all ones sequence. This line is the naturals. This line is the triangulars. This line is the tetrahedrals. And this line represents like a 4D version of a tetrahedron and onward. What I nickname these are the meta-triangular numbers, the levels beyond triangular numbers, because you can investigate all the further ones. It's actually an open question if any numbers that aren't 1 can appear an infinite amount of times, or if there is a small limit. Or maybe they've proven it wasn't infinite, but they definitely don't know what the limit is. So, I'll show you the details about that in the Pascal's triangle episode I'll do. That'll be really cool. There's so much cool stuff going on hiding in here. When you color it in different mods, you get really cool shapes. So we'll definitely be doing that. But I love triangular numbers and tetrahedral numbers and all these meta-triangular numbers. They are my good friends, so stay tuned for triangular numbers, as well as factorials, which are friends of them kind of. Triangular numbers to pop up in many more future episodes. So, someone's wondering like my education background, goals, hobbies, job interests, and stuff. I've taken a few years of college, which included math year classes and other stuff, but I didn't end up pursuing like a 4 year degree. I took about 2 years of it. I got really good grades in high school, got into good colleges, but went to a more local, cheaper college, mostly for money reasons. And I was more interested in pursuing some like writing I was doing and music I was doing. I've released tons of music over the years. I have a lot of half finished books I'm writing that I want to finish. And those are some big goals of mine to get more on time with, being able to finish some novels I want to show you guys, and math textbooks, and fiction, and memoirs, and a lot of stuff. As well as I've always liked film projects, which currently has been my combo class, which I am now hooked on doing. And so, yeah, my goals are to publish a ton of books and to expand combo class to a huge realm where I can make a variety of educational videos and streams throughout the week, and have a good team helping me set things up. Maybe make like cheap actual things that people can learn from in the real world, like science museums or like cheap camps that teach math or science. Maybe offering more online things, like I own comboclass.org that I will launch someday, that will contain like cool games and puzzles and stuff. So I want to expand Combo Class some really cool places. I want to personal goals would be, at some point I want to like be able to live in the woods somewhere by a river would be really cool. I want to find a girlfriend sometime this year. I want to get over some really difficult things with my body. Like I had to get 2 surgeries the past year. So I have a lot of goals like that. And I just want to sleep better and work on my mental health. But big scale goals include creating a big combo class team so I can be even more efficient and professional while still have fun with my videos, and to publish a bunch of books and music. My educational background, I learned way more from reading books and reading articles and writing than I learned from classes. I learned some stuff from classes, but I've done most of my education on my own with the help of authors and writers of online resources and stuff. So I didn't end up learning all my stuff through the college way. I ended up being like, I want to start a school. I have better ways school could work. But by start a school, I don't mean a place you get diplomas. I just mean a place you learn. So I have a lot of goals. Those are actually just a shred of them. But we'll see. My current goal is to have grade -1 wrap up with some really awesome episodes, and to have grade -2 launch in an awesome way. I am getting more consistent with having my main camera guy Carlo come over a bunch, and one of my slightly more previous camera guys who I've worked with over time, Johnny, is also going to be coming over more often. And so I'm going to be on a good schedule to try and I want to get back on making a bunch of shorts and bonus lessons on this channel, and to be able to keep making very frequent main channel episodes, which for the rest of the grade will be coming out more like 10 days apart instead of like 6 days, because they're a little longer episodes of topics I really care about that are really cool. So there'll be more like 20-minute episodes. They'll be 10 days apart just for the rest of grade -1. There'll also be a streaming schedule before long. So one of my goals this year is to make more money from Combo Class, so that I don't make as much as I spend right now. I spend more money on it than I make. But eventually it would be cool to not need to have a private lesson job. Like I have private students as a day job just to make money to fund Combo Class and survival. So it would be cool at some point this year or next year to get Combo Class to the place where that could be my day job. So that's a goal. So to anyone who wants to help make that happen, there is a Patreon that you get bonus videos and stuff. And someone's wondering why I didn't complete a degree. I technically got like a 2-year degree's worth of classes, but like, I don't know, I learned a lot faster outside of that. At the moment, I was just pursuing other things. I worked at a music shop, and so I just like was managing a small music shop and transitioned into music teaching. And I was having a more fulfilling life that way, releasing a lot of music, working on my writing and stuff, and just going through a lot of crazy things in life. A lot of things of crazy stories have happened to me. So then, I've had to get surgeries in the past years. I've had a lot of wild stuff has happened. So I don't know. Pretty unlikely I will take enough more classes ever to be assigned a 4-year degree. I don't really care about that for my merit. I feel proud based on the output I give the world, not really what a piece of paper says to me. However, degrees can be a way to ensure you read a lot. So I'm not unrecommending degrees to people because two reasons why I'm okay not doing it is that I do a lot of studying on my own. Not everyone's motivated to spend hours every day studying and writing and reading. So if you're not, it gives you a good structure to have to do that. It also gives you more of a focus on a singular skill. My skill base is more scattered and widespread as opposed to focused on a singular skill. So I make a better teacher than like person knowledge. And another thing is that it helps you get jobs more safely. So I'm taking a risk by not doing that. I'm a person who takes some risks, so hopefully it works out. But I survived from teaching private lessons right now, so I'm okay. Someone's saying there's a cool OEIS sequence to try, which maybe I'll pop over to that in a minute. The floor of the cube root of the square of the Fibonacci numbers. And so, yep, they got all kinds of stuff on there. Thank you to everyone who saying I'm interesting and would like more vlog-like videos and stuff. Yeah, I do plan on doing that more. Normally, I just talk a lot about personal stuff in moments of the streams. Some of the streams like this are more casual, so I go off on a long personal rant. There will also be some more personal footage in the finale of Grade -1 on the main combo class channel. The finale will be more behind the scenesy and include like me talking about having to get 2 surgeries while making the grade and some behind the scenes of like the first clock I burnt for it and stuff. Some of which is on my Patreon already for those people. Some of which nobody's seen. So there'll be some behind the scenes stuff in the finale. But also I do plan on maybe trying to make more random vlogs and stuff on this side channel. Some of my friends have been a little camera shy about wanting to be on combo class yet, but they're really fun people. So when I have my friends on more, that will be really fun too. And I'll let you guys meet my family in some time too. And what will be really crazy is doing little videos that I'm sort of saving for the main channel that tell a certain story from my life, along with video footage I have from that. And along with, I want to tell the story using one of the props that I still have from it or revisiting the location or something. So there's a few like places I have like on my list to go to this year or next year to film me telling a story of something that happened there in the past that will be interesting to you guys. Like one is like a time I got chased by a swarm of wasps. One is a time I fell through thin ice in a lake and very dangerous. That's not the time where I say I almost died a few years ago, but arguably that's a separate time I almost died when I fell through thin ice when I was like 13. There'll be one about how I stole a calculator in middle school, this massive calculator. So, oh man, me and my friend, always the one who I fell through thin ice with, we have this running joke that someday we're going to do it again. And we really probably won't, don't worry. That we keep joking that it's like, oh yeah, next time we'll get it right. Because the goal was to walk all the way to this dock that's in like the middle of the lake. And looking back on it, it was an absurdist quest and there was no way that it'll just be, you'll have to sign a waiver that you're stepping into a homemade castle and you might get hit in the head with a clock. But the hard part's just owning property. So the first step, own property by a river. Second step, figure out how to build a combo castle. And in the meantime, if I had to sleep in a van, I would be totally fine with that. I have kind of cheap taste. I'll eat cheap food. I'll wear cheap clothes. I spend all my money on combo class these days because it is sometimes it crosses over to me like letting myself have fun with random stuff. Like it's like I spend all the money on combo class basically, but that includes buying bubble machines and hundreds of dice and stuff that I find fun. But I have really cheap taste apart from that, so maybe I'll be able to invest some money in a combo castle. Until then, the money is going toward clocks, audio gear, and time to hire camera people and hire editors and stuff. Someone's asked me to sing some song lyrics. I'm not going to sing right now, but I actually love to more so rap, but I also like to sing. But you guys don't know, but I've actually released many hip hop mixtapes in the past under other names. You wouldn't find them by looking up my name. But someday I'll release those to you guys. Once again, some of those are linked to some of the Patreon people, but I'll show them to more of you guys in the future. And in the more near future, I will, for one, record some songs that I've been writing and show them to you guys. For two, maybe we'll do a stream sometime where I will freestyle rap whatever comments you leave or about whatever topics you leave. And it sounds really cheesy, I know, but I actually will surprise you that I have a rhyming dictionary in my head. So I'll be able to freestyle about whatever word you give me. So the other thing we'll do is I kind of want to do a stream. Okay, I was gone for a while, so I'm late on the comments. Sorry if it glitched for a while. Another thing I want to do is, and someone donated money. Looks like someone, it's Bane or Ron. Thank you so much. That is so awesome. Helps make all of this stuff work so well. We will spend that on some audio gear and some editing time and some great stuff for the class. By the way, about the other stream, the other thing I would want to do is to do a stream, and maybe I'll do that in a minute, where I open GarageBand and I make a beat really quick for you guys. I show you making a beat from scratch, because I find it mathematical. I think that my interest in math is similar to the ability that I like making like hip-hop beats or just even composing music and stuff, which can range from classical music and rock and stuff. Like I've released albums that are like rock oriented in the past too, mixed in with hip-hop oriented ones. But let me go through some more comments. Again, thank you so much to Bane or Ron. Hopefully, is it lagging again? Hopefully the internet's not acting too crazy. Keep me posted in the comments if it acts super weird. Hopefully it was just a short-term internet glitch. It is raining weird around here, so there's a small chance the internet's worse than usual because of some storm-related thing. It's kind of sunny right here, but it's been stormy in the area on and off. But keep me posted in the comments if it acts weird. Hopefully we'll be good. Someone's also wondering about Pascal's square pyramid. Oh, and Quinn is saying that my rap game is unmatched because he's heard it. So thank you, Quinn. We will be dropping more of that in the future. And someone said RON is Romanian Lou. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. But, yeah. Pascal's square pyramid is a good thought, and I've looked it up before. The thought hit me before, Pascal's tetrahedron. Or a square pyramid, tetrahedron being one with a triangular base, or a square pyramid being one with a square base. I would lean toward not square pyramid, but Pascal's triangular pyramid or tetrahedron could work well too, but it's interesting that they also have the square pyramid version. And if we look down here, we can see extensions to higher dimensions. And so they have higher dimensional generalizations, and we could have Pascal's pyramid, which is the three-dimensional analog of that. And it relates to the trinomial distribution as opposed to the binomial. Even just tetrahedrons are cool, and you know when we're really going to need to do a tetrahedron special? You're saying that the RON is the other type of currency, And that, yeah, that's still super nice. I still thank you for translating it, but still super appreciate any donation like that. They all help a ton. And what else do we have? The Pascal's pyramid and triangular. So, oh yeah, that was what I was going to say. Is that we really have to do a tetrahedron demonstration coming up for this next year. Not this year, but I got to buy a bunch of things I can stack in a tetrahedron for next year. Because, check this out. Tetrahedral numbers, OEIS. 2024. A tetrahedral number. So, it's going to be the first tetrahedral year since 1771. So we're going to have to stack a giant tetrahedral pyramid that big. Let's see which height it is. It's a tetrahedron of height 22. So we're going to need a lot of balls to make that happen. Oh man, did the stream cut out again? That's probably my internet being weird. Maybe it's from the storm or something. Am I going okay now? Oh no. Is it working? Oh no. Yeah, why isn't it working? Oh no. Please. Okay, it cut off for some reason. I'm going to try restarting the internet here and trying it again. You're back up? It's not looking back on my end. Let me see. It's back up? Let me see. Let me try and watch it on my end. So if it's back, then I don't need to restart and do another stream. I guess I am back. Okay. So for some reason that was glitched out, but if it happens again, keep me posted. Just say it's down in the comments. I'll keep an eye on the chat. So for some reason, we died for a while and lost most of our viewers, but to the 6 of you still around, you are utter true combo lords. So are the other people. They probably had a busier day. I don't blame them for leaving when I crash out, but thank you for sticking around. So, as we can see, 2024 is a tetrahedral number. Maybe you missed what I was going for here, but talking about Pascal's triangle and tetrahedral ones, it is 2024. So, that will be pretty awesome coming up in that year. We're going to make a giant pyramid and we'll stack it in the classroom. We'll glue together. Maybe I can get 2024 pool balls, like those billiard balls, and glue them together. And yes, to whoever says they are a combo lord, I used to call myself the combo lord as a nickname, and now I believe we are all combo lords, and that we can all appreciate the combo lord title as long as we are striving toward the combo lordness of the combo class vibes. So, you combo lords are much appreciated. Remember, if you ever need more people to chat with, we have our Discord and our subreddit, which there's links in the description here, along with links to the calendar video I put out yesterday, where we did a full investigation of a few different calendar systems. So make sure you check that out at some point on the main channel. Even though it's no longer Friday the 13th, if we switched to the other calendar that's better, we'd have a Friday the 13th coming real soon. There would be 13 every year. This is interesting too. Look, these tetrahedral numbers, you get a few that end in 0 in a row. Look, out of these 8, it's like a lot of those ones end in zeros, but these two don't. That's interesting. So tetrahedral numbers can also be defined. We could say that since they're adding up all the triangular numbers, that the fourth level is like 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Now, the fact that 10 is a tetrahedral number and also is a triangular number is the coolest fact about 10. Far cooler than the we have 10 fingers, it's 2 times 5 thing. Big deal that it's 2 times 5. 6 is cooler, 6 is 2 times 3. 6 is still cooler than 10, but the coolest trait about 10 is that it is both triangular and tetrahedral. We can write it either, it's not going to accept this in here, but just to write it, we can write it as 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, or we can write it as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. So it's a few levels of this, and that's the best fact about 10. 10 is oversaturated in our society. More 10s should be turned to 6s or 12s. And can I define combo lordness? That will have to come in some more philosophical videos in the future, as I explain more about combo theory, as well as clue theory and contrast theory, and a lot of the other philosophies of my life. But so far, if you think that you agree with my mindset and you want to join me in my pursuit of learning and enjoying life and thinking about things in strange combo ways, then you are a combo lord. Combo lording also does require being a nice, chill person to your other combo lords, and you can crack jokes and you can be wild, but you have to also respect other people and be nice if you want to be retain your combo lordness. And thank you to whoever shared the calendar video with your friends too. That's always helpful. The main channel videos are good to share with people or spread the word on those. They're fuller, digestible chunks of art that I'm more proud of. The streams are fun, the shorts are fun, and the shorts are really what draws the most people to this channel and is why this channel is so much more than the main channel in terms of subscribers. But the main channel, we want to catch up, we want to hit the algorithm better. So anyone who recommends those to their friends or comments on all the videos is super helpful. The shorts kind of do the work for themselves. And the streams don't really help the channel grow necessarily, but they're fun. I like doing them. They help us gain a closer bond and help us feel like more of a community. So the streams, I would say, don't really gain me subscribers, but they make some of my subscribers love me more, and that helps. So let's see. Looks like, is that another one of those foreign currency donations? Or maybe it might be the one from before. If that's another one, thank you so much. Even if it's in a foreign currency that makes it smaller here, it's still very helpful. Anything helps with the combo class, because I only recently was able to get the 2 channels monetized, but they don't let you make like the same type of ads on shorts yet. They'll test that out in the future. Who knows if that'll actually work well for creators or not. And, it's very hard to make a decent amount of money from ads unless you're getting millions and millions of views. And the only videos of mine that got millions and millions of views are the shorts that don't count in the same way. So anything really does help for combo class, and puts me steps closer toward being able to transition out of private teaching, which will give me more time to dedicate to combo class. In the near future, I'll be announcing 1 or 2 days for like a consistent streaming schedule, but a lot of the days will still be random. And I hope that before too long, I have enough freedom in my schedule to have like 3 or 4 days locked down in the week for streaming. But I'll try and get a quick one soon. And the intro music in the Levels Beyond Exponentiation video was a beat I made. All of those soundtrack ones are pretty much beats I've made. 99% of the music in combo class was something from me. 1% is like some public domain Creative Commons thing that fit the mood there. But actually in the last like 10 episodes, it's only been my beats. And then some of the early ones may have had some like Creative Commons beat to fit the mood somewhere. But almost all the time it's a beat I made so far. And so those I'll release at some point more. They will come out in various ways. Someone's always waiting for when I drop or fumble something with clocks and whiteboards. I'm glad you like the comedic aspect of it. I definitely set up my classroom so that it's a little clunky and haphazardous, and I let myself sort of wander around and deliver my lines, and it causes a lot of things to get knocked over. And a lot of the things getting knocked over, while I'm not like long-term shocked, like I know that it's gonna happen here and there, often my reactions of surprise are genuine a lot of the time, that I'm like, I'll bump it and it'll be like, whoa, it falls quicker than I think, or whoa, I didn't know that one was gonna fall. So definitely happens quite a lot in the classroom with the clocks. They're pretty prone to falling, same with the whiteboards. So I better be careful propping this one up today. Someone's asking, oh yeah, that might have already been posted, but whether I fumble much on purpose or if it happens naturally. And a few of the times I'll set it up so that I think it's like kind of in a clunky place, but it's mostly accidental, mostly just stuff getting knocked over. And sometimes before we film, I'll like set stuff up so that it's at risk of happening. And then most of it is just bumping into stuff and letting myself be like a little overly casual. And someone's wondering if my videos get good CPM. I don't think it's like super high because I'm like a starting channel on the program, but I think because it's an education channel, it might be decent. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I haven't, like, they only really recently have made any cent. So hasn't been long enough for me to see any patterns. And then someone's wondering about a good book for linear algebra. I'm not positive on that. I've just been reading like a ton of number theory and some like logic and some other stuff. Do I watch any Numberphile? Yes, I love Numberphile. They're awesome. Numberphile, I watch most of the new videos they put out. They are super cool. They are, it can be mildly hit or miss because you're interviewing different people on different topics. But its misses aren't really misses. All the videos are pretty interesting, and a good majority of them are brilliant. So, great channel. And yeah, shout out to Carlo for filming the accidental ones and catching them. Also, the one where Carlo sprayed me in the face with a hose once, that actually was by surprise because I told him earlier that day. Sometimes I'll be like, if you want to suggest any chaos, we can put it in. Like, you want to suggest a fire or like something crazy, it's probably something I'm down for. And so sometimes he'll be like, can I like do so-and-so, like throw an egg at you or something? And I'll be like, we'll pause on that for this one, but you can do so-and-so, or yeah, you can, or whatever. And so that day I was like, oh, by the way, you want to make a deal where either of us can mildly prank each other on the set of combo class, as long as it's not going to destroy any of our belongings or anything.
And he was like, yeah, totally. So we shook hands and made a deal that we're allowed to like mildly prank each other like while filming. And that day he was putting out a fire and like sprayed me in the face with a hose, you can see. So some of the stuff is unplanned. There's a lot of extra footage in the days that I cut down or have an editor cut down. And so usually it's like an hour or two of footage that gets to the 15 minutes. Um, so there's also a lot of like breaking stuff that doesn't even fit in. A lot of the chaos doesn't even fit in sometimes. So I'll try and gather some of that for some behind the scenes. And some of that goes on Patreon, where I will sometimes put like extended cuts or random stuff. Um, and yeah, wait, watch out. I'm putting too many faces of the same type of face in the chat. Remember, we want our chat to have a lot of different thoughts, but let's stick the emojis after some random thought. Someone says they want to light cactus fruit on fire, but there's no cactus. Um, I can't recommend copying me on stuff, so remember, hopefully watching me do some of the chaos satisfies your desire to see some of the chaos happen. My goal is actually to have less of it happen in the exterior, other people, not to be copied, but to have people see it and be like, okay, cool, now I know what it looks like. I'm good. Um, so, no need to play with fire. I have gotten good at doing it safely, but it's actually very dangerous, so gotta be really careful. Even with the cacti too, you got to be careful with that for another reason. Lighting the cactus fruit on fire, if you don't burn yourself, you'll prick yourself on the cactus fruit. Those things are savage when you touch them. It's like a million micro needles. Evil. Well, not evil. It's just doing its defense mechanism, I guess. But come on, you got to stick it on the fruit cactus. I'm trying to help you spread the seeds. Um, so in any case, that was a little bit of OEIS, but we might try to look at some random sequences on here. And, oh, there's a cat out there. So, that one is the stray cat, Sassafras. But he was on my bed earlier. He doesn't usually jump in this one. So he was stray until like last Friday the 13th, as I said in the episode. That was when we officially got him fixed. And like officially had decided he's adopted. And we now he's a member of the family, kind of, although he's still adapting to getting locked inside, but he's super nice and good. um, Someone asked what kind of mathematician wears an apron. It's a lab coat, and I'm not purely a mathematician. I also like investigating various scientific phenomena, so this helps me when my investigations get scientific, or just the fact that I like to conduct them outside. So, it's a lab coat, not an apron, but it could work as an apron too if I need to cook. Actually, the thing is, when you get food waste on it, you gotta wash it right away, so that's a problem. I'd rather get like ink stains on it, and then it's works better as a coat for a minute. I do lean toward math, but I'm just a different sort of combo professor. And yeah, the Renaissance combo, Lord. Nice title, thank you. We will have a combo Renaissance, I'll help start. And some of our first stages on that are spread the dream of the combo lords to get this channel up to 100,000 combo lords, which we're getting close to get threeven in the dictionary, and to get a few hundred more clocks. And those are some of our first stages. And of course, the stages also include having steady, practical, good content. I'll take care of all that part, don't worry, folks. Now, some way that you guys can help me with clocks, and I'm not going to talk about the Patreon again, this is different. A way you guys could help me theoretically is I'm thinking of starting a P.O. box one of these months for people to mail me old clocks or dice or stuff. I bet some of you got broken analog clocks or just an analog clock you don't need anymore. So I don't need digital ones. I want one with hands, but it could be any size. And I'll take dice as well. I'll make a list of things that would be fine to send me. And then I'll open them on a stream. We'll have a clock on an unclocksing. So we'll consider that for February or March. Leave a comment on one of these videos, if it ever applies to any of you, if any of you have a clock you would send me in the mail, I'm in California, if I had a P.O. box. And something I'm considering. Or if you have any I'll make a list, because there's other things that could be interesting. Like if you have any extra dice, obviously that would work. But there could be other things I could think of that other people may consider trash that I would consider useful. You know, one man's trash is another man's combo. And sure, I'm getting some requests for a sequence on here. We can check it out. And we got the partition numbers. Wait, no, we got the complete partitions. This is a little different. So the partition numbers are a little different than the complete partitions. It's if every number 1 to n can be represented as sum of parts of the partition. So yeah, complete partitions are a slightly more limited case than just the partition numbers. Let's see, is that my way of saving your time? Yeah, it'll save you. Yeah, I got a time-saving device. This is a way to save a lot of time. You will have a lot less time if you send me your clocks. So yeah, that's one way of looking at it. No, here's how you can look at it, though. Anything you send me in the mail, you can send me it can be useless to you, or it can be a family heirloom. It can mean a lot to you. But it'll probably get destroyed over time. But it'll probably get destroyed in a historical, well-documented way. So send me something if you want to see it in the background of an episode slowly getting destroyed. You know, I think that gives something a better, cooler lifespan than just letting it sit there for 100 years on the shelf, letting it sit there for 1 year and speed run the process of destruction on film in the background of one of my videos. Got any clocks that applies to? Let me know. Oh yeah, someone noted that in the comments. It's true. I've told people that. So I've told people, you can give me things you want in the background of the combo class videos, and I think it's honoring them. My version of honoring is they might get shattered, but I'll try and have the camera on while they get shattered, and I'll try and put it in the edit. So I think that honors it more historically to have a clock get shattered in one of my videos teaching about primes than the clock to sit on your shelf for a bajillion years. So, someone's wondering, OEIS, if you start with the 1 versus if you don't start with the 1, getting stuff. Now, often I recommend, if you're searching terms, sometimes start a term late in case they interpreted the first term different. Like n equals 1 sometimes can be weirder. So if you're investigating something, sometimes I plug in 2 and onward, or like n equals 2 and onward, like that, the second term and onward, to try and limit it a bit. Someone's saying they're in a different country. That probably won't work. So yeah, a lot of my fans don't live in the US. That might be way harder to send me anything. I don't know the protocol of who can send what. If anyone wants to figure it out and send a clock to California, let me know and I will consider it. And yeah, I'll be the clock layer of my lawn. I guess I would say my lawn is more of like the front yard I share with some neighbors. But yeah, my clock carpet, or what is it called? My dice carpet, that is also going to have clock layer parts. But we're mostly going for a dice carpet on the ground and a clock wall. That's the hope, to have more clocks on the wall versus dice on the ground. I think it would be harder to have the clocks on the ground and the dice on the wall. So, thank you all for joining me. And yeah, the archaeologists of the future, the alien archaeologists someday will be quite confused when they look at all the layers and they're looking at like, oh, this type of rock tells you there was an ice age at this era. This type of rock tells you that it was this type of thing during that era. Whoa, there's a clock layer. Whoa, there's a dice layer. So, shout out to the alien archaeologists who that baffles. Maybe they'll be so curious they'll dig up the videos and dig up this stream. And if they do, thank you. So, Um, Thank you all for joining me here inside. I do think there's a chance we could try and take a little journey outside. Now, I'm a little worried that it's going to start raining, so let me look up the weather in one or two places. And for that, we are going to have you not see my screen. And why don't we see what is predicted right now in a few places? I think we got a cloudy moment. I think we might be able to visit the combo classroom. Let's give it a shot because I always like me a good field trip. That's funny. Looking up the weather, it shows a thunder or like a lightning bolt, but not rain. That's weird. Well, if we get struck by lightning out there, we'll have it on stream. I think there's some funny history of that, of like people who have been struck by lightning multiple times. I'll do an episode about lightning someday. That's the type of thing where I want to like demonstrate it somehow. I want to have a reaction that is similar to lightning for my episode about lightning. Maybe we can maybe we'll Ben Franklin it up and do a key on a kite. That's combo class like. When I was rereading about that one time, that Ben Franklin key on a kite thing where it's like, I haven't looked into if that's factually something he did or not, but just that idea of putting a key on a kite to test electricity, that is so combo class-esque. So whether or not that, I'll have to look into if that was factually true or not, but Ben Franklin was a beast. Had a lot of interesting experiments. And yeah, everyone on my streams, remember to always say hello to any aliens who might be watching, either in the future or in what we think is the present, but like on a telescope, it takes a while for light to travel. So if an alien happened to be looking at the combo classroom with the telescope from really far, they would be seeing, them in the future would be seeing what it looks like now. So there's a chance that aliens could be seeing it on a telescope. There's a chance that aliens could figure out how to backtrack where all the atoms in the universe were and backtrack to recreate this. There's a chance aliens will dig up these streams because I'll be ahead of my time with all this base 6 stuff. They're going to see all my rants about base 6 and about other things, and they're going to know it's ahead of its time, and they'll check out these streams. And in case any of those are true, as a combo lord, we're not saying that we think those are true, but we're saying there's a possibility, and just in case, it's a fun little gimmick to say hi to the aliens, because who knows if it's a gimmick or if we're actually saying hi to the aliens. So, hello to the aliens, love you so much. Also could apply. Sometimes I throw in, oh, if there's a God, I love you, God. Oh, if there's a simulation creator and we're in a simulation, love you. Whoop. Then, we got our bases covered. Hedge our bets. No, really, though, we just are in love with whatever's going on there. It's fun to ask a lot of questions. Fun to playfully be thankful to, if any of it relates to aliens. Someone's wondering if I have any mushrooms in my class or garden, and there's not any specific mushrooms growing, although after the rain, there's a chance some grew. I've seen mushrooms grow in my yard before after rains, so there is a chance that now, out of all times, right after the rain, there's a mushroom or two. But I haven't spotted one as far as I know. There are some small things growing in the compost, or in the planting bin I got, because I put compost in it, and the compost has little traveler plants that send their seed over. Someone's wondering if the lightning victims are fortunate, unfortunate, or a combo. I would say unfortunate, although I don't know. If you got struck by lightning and you got confirmed by a doctor, it had no lasting medical repercussions, and you weren't that scared by it, like it caught you off guard, but it didn't like give you PTSD or something, then it would be a pretty cool story to tell. So I would say it's more likely that lightning would either give you a chance of a health risk or give you like PTSD or something to be hit by lightning. more likely it would be bad. There's a chance that you could get a really mild lightning hit, and the having that story you can tell would be worth it. Personally, if I was hit by lightning, I would think that would be pretty damn hilarious. I don't know what that would just be really funny to me. If I got, I've had a lot of weird blessed or cursed things happen in my life, and if I get hit by lightning at any point in my life, that's just going to be the cherry on top of the cake. Someone saying anything connecting base 6 awesomeness with the notion of the product of the first odd and even primes 2 and 3. Yep. Not that necessarily they're odd and even. But, I mean, that helps 6, that it has a factor of each. But here's what is notable. So, 6 is a primorial, a product of the first n primes. It's also a factorial. And it's also a superior highly composite number, because for its size, it has more divisors than anything smaller. Primorials and superior highly composite numbers, and arguably factorials, get a lot of good traits. It's also triangular and all this other stuff. So it gets a lot of good traits from being 2 times 3. The fact that they're such small primes, and that there's most of the numbers under 6 share a factor with it. 2/3 of the numbers under it are not co-prime with it. They have a factor in common. And so it's highly divisible for its size. And it's also the product of the first couple primes. We'll do more episodes praising 6 and talking about why base 6 would be so good. But part of why it's so dope is that not only is it the product of the first 2 primes, but it's sitting right in between the next 2 primes, 5 and 7. Now, here's the thing. In our base, you know how 9 has some cool divisibility tricks? And you know how 11 can be easier to multiply in some ways? Well, 9 and 11 are basically, get that, because it's b minus 1 and b plus 1 if b is 10, the base we count in. So in base 6, 5 gets the divisibility traits 9 had. 7 looks like 1, 1 and gets the powers that gives. And so 6 is the product of the first 2 primes, and the next 2 primes are its 9 and 11 of its base, basically. So it's an all-star base. Base 12 is more popular, because more people think, oh, we could add 2 instead of subtracting some. However, base 6 has pretty much all the good traits base 12 has, and is neater. Its small size makes like some of the fractions and times tables have better patterns. So why don't we look at this for a moment? Fractions in different bases, fractions in base 6 versus base 10. Now we're going to award points one by one. We'll go up through, let's go up through like, what's an unbiased number to go through, to go up to test? 1/10 is even in favor of that if we go there. So let's go to 1/10, and this will even sound like it's in favor of base 10. But for each of these basic types of fraction, a unit fraction with its denominator up through 10, if it's easy to make, then then all the multiples will be. So like if 1/7 is easy in my base, 2/7 will be pretty easy, 3/7 will be pretty easy and stuff. So we're just testing the unit ones with numerator 1, and we're going to award points. So here we're going base 6, which calls itself base 10, but we'll get into that another time. And here we're going base 10. So these are written in base 10, of course. But we are going to award points, and if there's a tie, then neither gets the point. And in fact, if one is like radically better, it'll get a double point. So now we're going to pull open a chart of this. Let me find a good chart. As usual, Wikipedia comes in handy. So here are the first ones.
we got 1/2. They're both just as easy. 0.5, we would get used to 0.3 being that. They both are a decimal and one digit. Both equally easy. Nobody needs to be... Well, I guess we'll give them each 1 point. They each did... Well, no, we'll keep it simpler. No points given in case of tie. 1/3. Here we got infinite repeating 3s versus 0.2. I'm going to give a... Let's see. I guess we're not going to worry about double points. We'll just do points. That is a point for base 6 for sure. No infinite repeating decimal. 1/4. We have 0.25 or 0.13. Both of them are a decimal and then 2 digits. They're equally easy. Then we have one that base decimal is going to get a point. That's easier. 0.2 compared to we have to repeat the ones. So at this point, we're tied. Oh, I worded it backwards. Shoot, that was a point there. This is a point there. So now we're tied up through there. They each had one that was worse in the same ways. So now 1/6. 0.166666666 forever. Or just 0.1. Base 6 totally wins that one. Now, remember that my chart has its flipped. Theirs is left for what mine's right. I didn't know which way theirs was going to go. Now we have 1/7. There's base 10 repeats a string of 6. Base 6 repeats a string of 2. Base 6 is better. 1/8, they are both a decimal and then 3 numbers. They're both equally easy. Now, this one's an arguable one. 1/9. This we have 2 decimals after, but no repetition. This repeats. I'm going to still say the non-repeating is way easier. I'm going to say 0.04 is got to be better than 0.1 repeating. So that's another for base 6. 1/10, of course, base 10 will win. So far, we have 4 that are better for base 6 and 2 that are better for base 10, and the rest tie. If we go forward, we see there's a few that are bad for base 6, but most of them are bad for base 10 also. And there's a lot that are better for base 6. So as you go forward, base 6 has a way higher percentage for ones that don't look bad. So base 6, that's just the fractions. We can get started on the times tables another day. If you want a clue of them, you can get the last digit the times tables would have from the mod 6 tables in my modular arithmetic videos. So, I hope you all enjoyed that little tangent. That was just a quick foray into seeing one of the reasons why base 6 is better. Someone says, don't trigger me onto communism. I'd be a dangerous man. I'm not sure what you mean by that exactly. I think that the world is a little too capitalist, but I don't want it to go to straight up communism either. I think that some people won't like that I say this, but I think a little bit of socialism is okay if you actually look into what that term could mean. I think the world is a little more capitalist than it should be. But I definitely don't believe in, like, straight-up communism. So, let's see what else we got here. How do I see my life from now? Blessed or cursed or combo? Definitely combo. And I like those phrasings of questions. It's like A, B, or both. Or it could be neither. That's the 4th option. But combo for sure. I have had blessings and curses. I have had really bad luck things happen to me out of the blue randomly. And I've had certain really good luck things happen to me out of the blue randomly. One of which is this show doing so well. The fact that this channel is less than 5 months old and we are close to 90,000 people here. That's absolutely awesome. As an example of a bad thing, I had to get 2 hip surgeries last year.
So there's like, I've had a lot of blessings and curses. Definitely a combo. I've also been surrounded by a lot of love in my life, so I've had a lot of that, but I've also had traumatic moments in my life. So, thank you to everyone who gives compliments just about my personality as opposed to the content. That's very nice as well. I like to try and be a good open person with you guys and be my real self and let you guys kind of be friends with me. So, I'm glad some of you enjoy it. Pretty cool. I always love hearing your chats in the comments. I've had a pretty introverted last year where, for some of the past years of my life, I would party a lot and invite friends over all the time, like for various art projects or recording or just hanging out or going on hikes or various things. And I would be with big groups of people a bunch. And this past year, as I got a bunch of surgeries and had to go through a bunch of changes in my mind and stuff and crazy stuff, got past a period where I almost died and stuff. I spent a lot of time at home reading math books and making videos and stuff with a smaller group of people, just my closer best friends and a few people who helped me with camera stuff and things. But I, for one, I do want to interact with my good old friends more, and I am going to a good party with my friends tonight. We're going to be, ironically, doing a calendar themed party a friend is having. Ironic because I made my episode about that yesterday. But funny enough, my friend made a calendar for this year, so we're having a calendar party. So that'll be very fun. But I also have enjoyed that while I got trapped in this introverted phase a bit, because some of it with surgeries and stuff, I was like in the hospital and stuff, I couldn't interact with people much. During that period, I have grown a community with you guys in the chats here and on Discord and things like that. And so, very awesome, very much helps me stay motivated and bring out the best of myself. And the best of myself will be even better and better over time because I'm still improving a lot of my mental issues and physical issues. And based on how much better I'm doing now than I was a year ago, even though I'm not doing perfect, I foresee good things in the future. So, you're all awesome. Love you all so much. Um, let's see. Someone wants to know if I meditate, if I do psychedelics or weed or what's that other term? I don't know what you mean. What that other one is. Um, when I looked up that LBRP, I'm seeing the lesser ritual of the pentagram is an occult practice. It's a very different one than your other questions, I guess. Is that what you meant? Um, but yeah, in any case, that's a question for a future grade, I gotta say. So I'll have to answer my experiences about substance related things in future grades. Not quite yet, but I'll be more and more of an open book over time. I'll also write memoirs someday, and so stay tuned. I have a lot of interesting stories, but one thing though is although I won't talk normally yet about other substances or things, I don't drink alcohol personally, at least not this year or last year. And I haven't drank in, as of yesterday, 19 months. Just as a personal choice because I've had problems with that in the past. And as far as meditation, I probably should a little more. I don't usually do like the full try and just focus on a singular breath or locking out your mind type of thing. But I like to have a meditative outlook on life. I like to like half meditate while I'm in my garden, petting my cats, cooking, things like that. I try and like be meditating sort of while I'm doing. So I like to have a meditative way of looking at life to a degree. I could probably be better at that. Someone said wash my coat and I can gain the 100K. Watch the very beginning of this stream. I said I washed this literally right before this. Came out of the wash right before the stream. These are marker and paint and burns. It doesn't wash out. There will be a new lab coat for grade -2, but I get actual lab coats. They cost like $50 and they're like actually semi fireproof and thorn-proof and stuff. So it's an actual legit helpful thing. I'm going to buy another one for like $50 for grade -2 So until then, you guys got to deal with this because this is it in its washed state. Um, so someone wants my party pictures in a community post. Uh, I'm not going to share that stuff quite yet. If people want to see more of the crazy parts of my life, the first place that will go is to my Patreon people. The second place that will go is to my Discord people. And then the third place that will go is to all of you here. It'll all come out eventually, but if you want to see any weird things from my life sooner, that's where you can go earlier. It'll come out. I've already released some random things from my past, just like videos I've made and stuff on my Patreon, and just some random thoughts about life and stuff on the Discord. Not some things I'm not very explicit about yet because I'm always honest with you guys, and so to be 100% honest requires me to sometimes say for a given topic, I'm not going to answer that right now. So a lot of topics will be brought up in future grades. And someone asked, what's a country I'd like to visit? I like nature a lot, so I would like to visit places with interesting types of forest, and places with interesting different types of animal or plant or fruit or things like that. I think I'd enjoy that the most. Right now, I really just want to get back into my ritual of going camping, which I used to do a few times a year, and I wasn't able to the past year because of these surgeries and stuff. And so I want to get back into camping and nature, and then I'll look at traveling further. And I don't know, because I haven't traveled much at all, so really traveling anywhere outside of California is pretty new to me. I have gone camping in various parts of California dozens of times in my life, but I've only left California a couple times, a few times in Mexico, one time to Hawaii, one or two times to like Arizona type area. Very few times have I left California. So I've never been to like Europe or Asia or Australia or a lot of places. So most places would be fun for me to travel. I haven't really had the resources to do it much yet. It costs a lot to travel. So maybe someday I'll be able to find some sponsor who wants to like sponsor me to take a video on some weird trip or something. And someone says I seem like a nice guy to go to a party with. That's nice, thank you. I do have a lot of fun with my squad. Me and my squad get along quite well. So tonight I am certainly going to get in party mode and have some fun. Let's see. Someone said, did someone put a bamboo in my hips? It's not bamboo. However, it is a slightly surprising thing. So some of it is titanium, some of it is part of a plastic thing, and some of it is ceramic. I have ceramic in both sides of my hip. I'm a cyborg and a ceramic borg. And you want to see if I have my x-ray here somewhere? I'm going to see if I have that on my computer somewhere. I need to get a newer x-ray the other side. I only was given like one of them. Yeah, I don't know where my x... Okay, yeah. I put out a short about this a while ago. So let me open this short and then show you the x-rays in it. So here is it's kind of small here. So I'll show you a bigger picture in the future. But this is in my hip on both sides. This huge thing. It's a long story as for why I needed that. And I'll get into more of that in the future. It's a long, painful story, but I've had a very hard couple years. I don't know how on earth I managed to still make this show as productive as I did. It is a miracle. So thank you all for the help. And yep, it's been a long, hard year. Someone asked if I like a strange complex base, and base I to the power of I doesn't, I don't think, work supremely well. I would have to try that out, but I to the power of I is a different number. But I do like base 1 or I minus 1 and base 2I, and those will be coming out later this month. We have base 2I, might be either the next episode or the one after that. 1 or 2 episodes from now on the main channel will be base 2I, and in the same episode, base I minus 1. Someone says, do I support the idea of a platonic realm for mathematical concepts? I don't know what you mean. Do you mean platonic like in terms of like friendships that aren't romantic? Or do you mean platonic in terms of like the platonic solids? Like the 5 shapes that are like that? So I'm not sure what you mean exactly. Thank you all. And I am like mostly healthy enough that also I have a lot of physical problems still. We'll get into it in the future. I'm gonna have a harder life than average, so that's why I need you guys' help sometimes. But despite the fact that I'm gonna have a harder life than average, I'm gonna do okay. I'm able to walk again. That's what matters. So I can walk again. That's fine. We'll get more in the future into more of the hard parts. And yeah, like someone mentioned, I to the power of I is real. Surprisingly, it is not an imaginary number. I to the power of I becomes a real number. So weird sounding. I to the power of 4 is real, so I guess it's understandable, but I guess that has a real in it, so I to the power of I being real is a trip. So, leave a comment that says classroom if you want to take a field trip to the classroom, because there's a chance we could do that. I think we got a little sunny break, and if 1 or 2 of you want to, we'll do that. Other activities we could do are chat with the chat robot, look at a few of the books I've been reading here and flip to a random page in one of the books. Look up more, do the OEIS webcam feature where it flipped us through random sequences. Those are a few options that we could steer our stream towards. We got at least one fan of that thought, so I guess I'm going to need to get shoes on. So, luckily these shoes I can put on in here because they're not muddy, but then when they get muddy on the way back in, I'm going to have to unshoe. So, we also got a books fan, so we can do books when we come back. Because here's the thing. When I go to the classroom, I wouldn't be surprised if really quickly after a raindrop falls on my computer and I'm like, abort mission. And someone asked, oh, wow, nice donation for the classroom. That is very nice. Thank you so much, Ron. It's RON is the currency. Thank you so much, Bane. And I know it translates to a little less in my currency. Still, very generous and nice. That is really awesome and helpful. So, let me make sure that is the right name. Yep, it's Bane. Thank you so much. So, we're going to definitely head to the classroom now. And I'm going to bring, in case it seems like there's like one drop, but not too many, I'll bring something that we could drape over the computer if we need to protect it in any way. So, what's something slightly smaller? Okay, I'll just bring a little hand towel, and then this will, just in case there's like one drop or I need to try and like cover the computer like a little curtain like that. Because believe it or not, right now it's covered. So let me pop my shoes on, and in the classroom, I will remind you folks that it is at its dirtiest stage. It is, the end of the grade is, I want you guys to think of grades as, in some ways, each will be an evolution of the last, and we're going to take it further places. It's going to get cooler in certain ways, but in other ways, cycles will repeat. And cycles already happen in nature. You know, things die and then are born, and things have different cycles of the tide comes in and out, and the flower blossoms and closes, and the fruit falls and then goes to winter. And so, kind of like the seasons and other cycles, we speed run some cycles out there in the classroom. And we're going to fit them into, like, each year, we're going to feel the seasons roll with us. and we're going to have a sort of modular cycle where at the beginning of each grade, I'm going to get a new desk and lab coat and stuff, and toward the end of each grade, we're going to stop caring about how clean it looks. And that's where we're at. If we were on a normal clock, we're at the 10 o'clock right now, or almost the 11 o'clock. We're at we just passed 10 o'clock. And so we're getting to the chaos part of the time. So just be warned that the rain has decided to take things into its own hands. And whoever asked if I'm on... Oh no, did it crash again? No, it's not crashed. Okay, cool. It's just not showing it here, I think, because I'm paused, maybe. Okay, I think I'm still going. Cool. So, let's have this open here and take a little trip. Now, here's the thing is, when we go outside, I actually need to have you guys looking at something else just to transition out. So I don't show my address, or like if my family's around, I don't know if they want to be on it. So we're going to look at a graph in the background while I walk us outside. And what's a fun one here? We'll try this new one we were fiddling around with, which was and I'm going to put you to that now. The square root of y times sine of y equals the square root of x times the sine of x. And this isn't the inequality version, but it's a little clearer to see some of the shapes going on. We'll make it inequality for fun. All right, folks, now I'm going to walk us outside to our classroom. And I don't live alone. I live with family here. We need to take a 1-second break, is why I flipped that. Because look at Sage. This is Sage, the silky one. My cats are such little marvelous boys. That's a good boy. He's so sweet. Sorry, Sage, I gotta go out. If you want to help in the classroom, you can. Okay, back to the graphs. All right. Okay, there's still a little bit of a lake. Not as bad as it's been, but still got a bit of a lake, as you can see. And here we go. I guess I'll mostly hold the computer while we're on our field trip. I'm not sure exactly where it's dry enough to set it down, but holding it works for a little adventure out here. So, as we've noted before in the classroom, the clocks don't always like the rain, the whiteboards either, or the desk. All of those take a lot of damage from the rain, but one thing likes the rain a lot here. It's this staghorn fern. This thing, how can I not block it? This thing loves the rain. So that thing grows those green tendrils out of it whenever it's happy, and must be happy now. And look, it's chained to the wall. It's been chained there for years, ever since we've lived here. We've never done anything to it, and it just lives. I might try and look up how I can like mist it or spray it to make it extra happy. But right now with the rain, it's good. And look, no dirt from the ground. Not touching dirt. Only touching fence and chains. And it's been surviving for years and years and years. That's how they work, those staghorn ferns. They're crazy. So back here, well, here we got the campfire, which I built that a while ago for an episode. And then I decided, whoa! This is one of those chairs that sinks into the mud. Okay. So you see how that chair is like diagonal? It just sinks into the mud sometimes. Here we got the campfire that I just decided to keep for the rest of the grade. And we got parts of the desk. Those were the desk. And this was the desk. Has a lot of random junk on it right now. Let's see what fun stuff is on the desk. We have this pumpkin still doing pretty good from a while ago, from the Halloween special. This garlic is ready to be planted. Look at that garlic. You ever seen garlic do that? This I've been saving for an experiment. This is hydrophobic sand. Hydrophobic means water will bounce right off it. Need to figure out what would be a fun experiment to do with this. What else do we have here? We have some of the clocks that are still surviving, but have taken a few hits, like this one. And then you got the clocks that have taken a number of hits and are a little further gone in their destruction, like this one. This one is the one I'm going to redesign because it's a good background of a clock, but the face peeled off. But I'm going to turn it into a musical clock related to scales. And then we got some clocks that do survive the rain. This guy, I guess, filled up a little bit, but he's plastic. This fellow's glow in the dark. So, oh yeah, clocks I don't think are supposed to drip like this, but my clocks do. Actually, it looks kind of cool to have water in it. Maybe I should take some of them that are plastic that won't rot and just like let them fill with water. And more clocks. All right. And here in the combo classroom, like I said, it's in the extra chaotic phase right now, but I already told my combo helpers, my assistants who I film with and stuff, to get ready for January and February is making some extra dope main channel episodes and a bunch of streams and shorts and stuff. And then March is prepping for grade -2. I'll still have stuff ready to release in March, but a lot of March will be me having to have a destruction ritual of a lot of the broken stuff here and replace it, as well as accumulate more. So don't worry, we'll have more clocks than we started with when the modular cycle loops around. Some things build and maintain. So the combo classroom is probably at its peak craziness right now. If you look like some zones that are just chaos land. But I love it out here. And it's nice that we got a little bit of a break from the rain. Let's take a moment to appreciate that, what is it called? A nest. There's a nest up there. You see birds? I mean, I don't see the birds, but I see their nest. So, any other requests of stuff you guys want to see around here? We can also maybe take a little peek at the front yard if we're not bothering anyone too much. Someone wants me to pee on the hydrophobic on the hydrophobic sand. So, I don't think that I'm gonna pee on the hydrophobic sand. Yeah, they are male cats, and I will put more stuff about them in videos sometime. I'll probably make a video about the process of taming a feral cat, because the stray one was basically feral, and now he loves me. He let me pet him in my bed today, the one that used to be feral. That's a big step. For the first time ever today, he let me pet him in my bed. So yeah, the cats are awesome. The originals are Sage and Dandelion. And then Sassafras is also on the team now. And Yeah, they're all males actually, and yes, they're fixed. Um, so thank you to all of the fans. Someone said I should get a screenshot of me with that garlic. I did film a little short talking about the garlic and an onion, so I'll put that out soon. One of the shorts I filmed of a bunch that I filmed a few days ago is me holding up the best. I have a few more like that and an onion that did stuff, and so there is a short I'll drop soon that has like a bunch of them. But yeah, there will be an episode too sometime that would maybe be good photo for. Um, Someone's saying it's fun to pour the hydrophobic sand into water. Yeah, we can try something like that after it rains, probably. Someone would like to see some magnetic exposure tests, and that does sound interesting. And someone's wondering if I'm doing a video on. I thought since the 14th of the month right now, you were asking about the 14th of March, aka Pi Day. But it's the 14th of January now, so my mind was thinking that's where the comment was going, and I was like, why would I do a video on the 14th of January? But yeah, the 14th of March for Pi Day. Maybe a lot of math channels do something for that day. I do have a fun fact I'm saving for that day. So I actually have a short I was going to film that I was like, nope, I got to save this for Pi Day. So there'll at least be a short that lines up with it. I'm not sure if I'll do a full episode on that day or not. Maybe. It would be fun to try some of the testing ways of calculating pi ourselves. See how many digits we can get by hand. Um, Someone's asking if there's any lightning, and there, let's see, there was lightning, and in the last main channel episode, you can hear a bunch of thunder. Like, there are moments in the last main channel episode where thunder goes in the background, and I'm like, whoa. And the lightning I haven't seen much of yet, but when you hear thunder, it's with the lightning, you know. So I haven't seen lightning this round, but I've heard a lot of it. Someone want to know how old, and yes, I am 29, like a comment mentioned. And yeah, some of my viewers are starting to know a little more of the details about me, which is okay. I like having you guys as friends. Um, So, we're going to take a little more peek at a few more cool things out here, and then we might go back inside. Although it's looking so sunny that it almost wants me to hang out, makes me want to hang out for a minute and do an activity out here. Well, we could do a bubble activity or some experiment like that. Or we could get some worms for the potting for the garden thing back there. Or we could see if there's any chill things in the front yard. What do you guys think? Well, and we're not doing the roof. Leave a comment for your thought on, because this is like a choose your own adventure map. So sometimes we're going to think of the stream that way, of where am I on the choose your own adventure map. So right now, our few choices are: we could go to the worm bin, we could go to the other part of the front yard, we could go to the bubble machine. So, what are people's thoughts on that? Someone saw the glycerin plus corn syrup would be good. I actually restocked bubble fluid, so we don't need to whatchamacallit, make it from scratch. I bought some more bubble fluid too. But maybe we should put corn syrup. I need to buy more corn syrup. I didn't have much. The corn syrup did seem to make it stronger. But I don't know if I should put corn syrup in the one that I put in the bubble machine. Because is that going to make the bubble machine like sticky? And someone said, isn't it nice, the sun after the rain? It gives the air a nice feeling. It does. And there's actually a term for, do you know the smell after it rains? And you're like, that smells fresh after it stopped raining. Check this out. What's it called? Here we go. look at this word. Um, Petrichor, a pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm, dry weather. They have a whole Wikipedia article about it. It's the earthy scent produced when rain falls on dry soil. So, yeah, pretty cool. I bet other animals smell that and they think like, ooh, time to find a bunch of worms. So, any thoughts on where we should go next for our choose your own adventure? I got a bubble machine suggestion and two worm bin suggestions. Leave a few more for either bubble machine or worm bin. I think there are 2 votes each right now. So we need a tiebreaker. I see 2 worm bins and 2 bubbles. But okay, actually, here's what we'll do. We have enough fans. We'll do both. Because here's what we'll do. We'll go to the worm bin. I'll grab a few worms, put them in there, and then you guys are just going to have to hang out with the worms for a minute while I get the right cord to plug in my bubble machine. And then also wash off my hands from all the dirt from the worms. 2 birds, 1 stone. 2 worms, 1 cone. Then you're going to hang out with the worms for a second, and then we'll launch the bubbles. So worm first, bubble second, and we will do both. So for the worm bin, gotta go around here. And I love pranking people with this thing where when I invite people to my classroom here. So, this building looks an awful lot like this would be the classroom. If I say I have a classroom back here, I lead people back here, and it's it looks like that would be the classroom. It's not. That's for something else. But it's when I lead them there, I'm like, yeah, it's my classroom back here. And they're like, wait, the classroom's behind this thing? So, quick worm gathering over here. Need to set this somewhere dry. Well, as dry as we can get. So, first let's see how the insides. Ooh, okay. So, to whoever doesn't like rotting stuff, don't look in here. Shut your eyes for 10 seconds if you don't like rotting stuff. That's the beginning of the process. And you can see a lot of isopods crawling. More of the worms are at the bottom. So now you can open your eyes if you only want to see half gross stuff, which is the more digested part of it. Look at all those worms. Do you see the worms? You can't. Okay, look at this. Can you see the worms? Look at those worms. There's one. There's also some isopods, the ones that some know as roly-polies or pill bugs. There's an isopod. So, let me safely gather a few. There's also a weird spider there. I should probably be using gloves when I do this. But now we're getting to the less digested part. We're going to get a few worms and maybe an isopod or 2. And we're going to bring them back to our little planter. Here's some isopods in this little corner. There's another worm falling down for me. And there's a lot of weird bugs in here. I'm going with the ones that look most friendly. And we're going to close this for now. And let me show you what I got. So it doesn't look like much, but there's some isopods in that bin too, and there's a lot of worms on here. So Let's try and transport these safely. Oh, worm on computer. There's a worm on the touchpad. What if it starts doing stuff? What if the worm starts like typing offensive stuff in the chat? Oh no! Oh no, the worm's deleting all my videos. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So there's what we got. Gonna pop them in here, and now when you look in here, you're gonna see a whole realm. Check this out. This is where all of the sprouting guys from that short I mentioned are. Ooh, I gotta wipe this worm juice off my keypad. So this is where all of the green things are that I also have a short showing some more of. And it's where you see those worms just got relocated, and those isopods very happy. And what we're gonna do right now is, where do you have a, is, you don't even have a view of this here. That would be a lame place. So I am going to have to set you guys down for 1 sec to get my bubble gear and to plug in this machine. We'll try some bubbles as well. I want to have you in a spot where you can see the worms. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, this is dry enough. Okay. So here's your little view for now. Maybe some worms and interesting stuff will happen in the meantime. I'll be back soon.
turning. I need to get this bubble machine plugged in. And let's hope that the bubble machine still works, because it got rained on a little. So this is going to be our test of if I need to buy a new bubble machine for grade -2 also. Okay, it's at least whirring, the motor's going on, so that's good. Alright, so time to fill it with fuel and test it. Thank you to all the combo lords who hung around. You are all extra awesome. I'm glad that we got motivated to do a little field trip out here, and these bubbles will be a fun addition. So, for now, let me see where I can safely put this. I might have to hold the computer for now, and then I can try and aim it and dodge it. First, I will set it here, an unconventional spot, for you to see the messy classroom, so we can refill this. I spilled a bunch of this bubble fluid. I've already used it on some experiments and just like playing around with bubbles with my friends, and I went through it so fast because I spilled a bunch of it. But we still have a good amount left. So no corn syrup this time, but let's see if this bubble machine still has what it takes. Okay, it's doing something. The wind isn't helping it right now. Now, this isn't as good as it sometimes goes. It's lost some of its life from being rained on and put through a lot. Someday I'll have to get an upgraded new bubble machine, but it's still pretty awesome. If the wind was hitting us the right direction, we could get them flooding the classroom a bit more. So let's move it a little more. Yeah, check it out, Classroom of Bubbles. Now that's the vibe that always just adds a little extra fun. It's hard to hit, the wind doesn't always spread them the right way. Now, we can find some doing things on the wet surfaces as well. Let's see how many of them are just sitting on the ground. Do you see all those bubbles just hanging out? They land and they don't pop right away because it's wet. So, little bubble excursion. Ooh, the bubble mix is getting really soapy in there. It's doing something weird in the mechanism. The bubble machine is having some trouble, but it is doing a pretty good job. That is something that once I get the right funds toward, I'm going to buy a super crazy bubble machine and a super crazy fog machine, and then we will go extra bubbly and have all sorts of crazy stuff. So going back to our chat, well, I wanted to aim toward the bubbles, but they're going such the wrong way. Let me try and aim them a little more, but the cord's not that long. The wind just makes it flood the rest of the neighborhood sometimes. It'll be like, I'm waiting for it to fill the classroom, so I just keep shooting it while it's filling some other neighbor's yard because of the wind current. That's giving us some. Okay, yeah. So, taking a peek at the chat while we look at our bubbles. Bubbles coming our way. Thank you all for hanging and chatting while I vanished for a bit. As you guys may know, I am from the Bay Area of California. To all you who are sharing from where you are. And the bubble machine usage is positively proportional to joy. I think that more adults need to appreciate bubbles the way that kids do. You know, just because kids don't have the strength or motivation to do all the jobs that adults can do doesn't mean that kids' curiosities are wrong about everything. Some of the curiosity from childhood can be maintained or brought back. Someone said that's funny, I look like their friend. Um, I have been compared a lot to a few random people. I don't have the most distinct looking look in terms of. I bet if somebody saw me on the street of you, you might not recognize me if I didn't have the lab coat on. And if I had the lab coat on, I bet you'd recognize me. So since I often don't wear the lab coat like out on the street just running an errand, I haven't had anyone recognize me in public yet. So that'll be a weird day when that happens. And it'll probably be whenever I'm like wearing the lab coat out in public, I'm guessing. Um, and a lot of cool thoughts. I'm going to turn off the bubble machine soon and we'll look at a few that collected interesting places. Because it's between the bubble machine getting old and the wind right now, it's not really filling the classroom, it's just shooting them over to other people. So, to all the neighborhood children, you're welcome. To all the neighborhood parents, sorry. So, pausing on the bubble machine for a moment. All right, folks. And we'll do a little more nature appreciation, then we might head back to my room. I think that was a pretty good little field trip out here. So let's take a nice peek at our clocks. Love you, clocks. Love you, plant. And here's a more likely spot for an alien to be watching with a telescope. So here we can do the hello to the aliens. It's more likely that they're watching here than inside my room walls. Maybe. I don't know. So I think it's time to head back to the combo classroom. I mean, no. Whoa. To reverse that, it's time to head back to my room. And I'll let you know if we see anything worth seeing in the front yard first. But for now, while I move to my room, I may switch you back to this. But for now, I'm going to put you back on looking at my screen, which was on the article for base 6. So that's what you're, oh no, for center, for now we're for base 6. Is that what we're looking at? Oh no, it got all moved somehow. Where is it? There we go. Now we're on base 6. That's what you can read while I go back, unless we see a cat on the way. Then, you know, I'm probably going to pause and show you the cat. We got 2 out of 3 of them yesterday for Friday the 13th. I mean, obviously I pet them all yesterday, but on the stream we only got a 2 for 3. Today we've only gotten Seiji so far. This actually is kind of funny just to show you real quick. So like when I say the yard's flooded, this is an example of it still kind of flooded. If you sit there, you are in a little lake. But it's been a lot worse. All right, now we're back in my room. We're close to the end of this stream. We've already had a nice long time together here. It's almost 3 hours, I guess, we've been doing this. So I planned on this being a 1 or 2 hour stream, but so many fun antics we can get into in the combo classroom, whether it was on my computer or in the classroom. So sometimes we get a little carried away on the streams, and that's fun. It's a great activity. And I think I left my phone out there, unfortunately. No, I didn't. It's here. So leave any last thoughts or questions in the chat. We're going to go for 3 hours on this stream, which is 10 more minutes, just because that seems like a good logical cutoff point. So And 3 hours as a chunk is a actual, arguably logical thing. That is 1/8 of a day. So that seems like an actual, like, quantifiable chunk that you would want to discuss sometime. We're gonna have streamed for exactly 1/8 of a day. Um, so let's see what else we got here. Um, Lots of interesting random chats and comments. And someone said there are so many girl fans waiting for me outside for an autograph. I wish so. That'd be pretty cool. Uh, no, I don't socialize that much these days, but I am going to a party tonight, so I guess that'll be fun because I I love my squad. I often make myself get in an extroverted mood and can enjoy staying up practically all night with my friends, chatting and laughing and doing wild stuff. But I haven't done that much the past year, but I will again tonight, so that'll be fun. So, yeah, in any case, I may someday, for you folks who don't live super far, do some sort of combo meetup in a park or something. For now, if anybody happens to be really close to the Bay Area out of my super fans, they can always reach out to me for a chance if they want to help out in the combo classroom or something. I'm open to the chance of meeting up with people if they want to help me with my combo class, because I'm very busy. Um, and yeah, you all are super awesome, wonderful folks. Make sure, and no, I will not break my 19-month record of not drinking. I don't need to drink tonight to have a fun time. Um, and let's see what else we got. Um, yeah, so appreciate all of you folks. What we have lined up soon is we just had a main channel episode for those who haven't seen, all about calendars. That's in the description here. You should definitely watch as soon as this stream's over, or even click over to there now. It's pretty dope of an episode. It's the longest main channel one yet. Then we're going to take our time on the last 7 episodes of Grade -1, which will put us up to the base 6 100, the number that looks like 100, but in base 6, which is 36, the smallest number that is as divisible as 100. And so, or is that true? Does 30 beat it? Where's my highly composites list? So, yeah, 36 is the smallest number that's as divisible as 100. And it's a really great number. It's triangular, and it's the square of a triangular number, making it the sum of the first 3 cubes, or the sum of the first 3 numbers then squared, and it's a lot of other cool stuff. So we're going for 36 main channel episodes. There will also be more shorts. I put out 2 shorts on this channel today for those who want to catch some random cool little ones, and there'll be more little shorts throughout this week. I filmed a couple with my guy Carlo. And then next on the main channel, which might be about a week from now, will be our base 2i episode. Maybe even slightly more than a week because I want to take my time with that, but it'll be an extra epic episode. I'll also make sure to get a concrete streaming schedule going in the near future so that you guys know a few days to look out for it. I'm still working on shifting some private students to make sure I have the right good amount of time. And someone says, what's my solution to someone who wants to remove alcohol addiction? And that'll have to be a longer, later topic. Right now I will just have to say good luck and it's possible, but I do have a lot to say on the matter, so I don't really want to say it until I know how to say it, because I'm somewhat of, unfortunately, an expert on having to quit drinking. So, I will, at some point, definitely make some helpful tutorials for anyone else who's going through that problem. There's a goal in my life to take some of the things that I have struggled with and use them to make other people have an easier time with those struggles. Similarly, I've had some mental health issues that I'll, hopefully share some techniques of working with. Um, all right. Now, thank you to all of the fans leaving the various ones. And yes, the 13-month calendar is one of our new goals. I also liked the random calendar I stumbled into that some were saying is like the Egyptian one, when I just made up what I thought made sense. So the calendar that I thought made sense, I really like, but that's hinges on having 6-day weeks or 5-day weeks. One of those would work well for it. So if we can shift to 6-day weeks, I have an even better one than the 13-month, which I presented at the end of the episode. But for now, I think the best to convince society is the 13-month one. As long as you're cool with the thing you'll see in the episode called how this year day works and how leap day works, it's so much better. It's like, you'll see the episode, but the International Fixed Calendar is what we're working for. That is one of those combo class goals. Like, there's some of my episodes have a weird little thesis behind them, like Threven should be in the dictionary or something. And the little thesis behind that was we shouldn't be hooked on our calendar staying. There are better options. Here's one example. So someone's mentioning something about the hex base, or the base 16, hexadecimal sometimes called. Base 16 would be good for a computery human, like a robot, but base 6 is much better for a animal. Animals should count in base 6. It's also the most common amount of limbs that any animal has on the planet, because there are far more insects than other types of animal, and insects have 6 legs. We also have 3 little joints per finger. Make 6s. So base 6. There's just one reason we went over earlier, the fraction. There's a lot of other reasons it's more magnificent. So let's see what else. Do I think the world will actually fix the calendar? Not in the near future, but with all of the strange quests I'm going to put out of things I think the world should change. There was some about the alphabet, too, where I was like, we should kick these letters out of the alphabet. And a lot of people are like, that'll never happen. But it will eventually. The alphabet will evolve. The calendar will evolve. There's not much reason why we have to be stuck on the current one, because it has evolved at every previous point in history. So it's a little silly to think that at this point it'll stop evolving. Now, there's a chance it'll evolve slower because of weird locks of globalization and power and capitalism and stuff keep it locked. However, it's going to change eventually. Maybe it'll take a catastrophic asteroid hitting and humans rebuilding as some new subspecies where 99% of humans die. But at some point, the alphabet's going to change. At some point, the numbers are going to change. And at some point, the calendars are going to change. So we might as well be ready for some that are upgrades that would be better to change into. For letters, it would be kicking out the letters C, Q, and X and clumping up how the H thing works to change letters differently, clumping them by voiced and unvoiced letters. That's just the consonants. I haven't even gotten to the vowels in an episode yet. For numbers, it should be base 6 or 12. I like 6 the most. And for other stuff, we should change the calendar too. So there are a lot of changes I'm going to propose over the years, and that's why I think the aliens might like us. The aliens think we're ahead of our time. You always got to be not too hooked on what the current system is. The current system, things change a lot over time. So you don't want to just be a casualty of your era, meaning like you don't want all your behaviors to be dictated by the fact you happen to grow up in this century. Do activities you think a human should do, And so have thoughts you think a human should have. So I don't want to, end up going down in history as some dude who had 2023 behavior. I want to be, a thinker and a doer. So calendars, silly, weird. They'll probably change, hopefully. We'll see. Whoever said Demetrio for president, don't think I will apply for a political position, but we will start our
awesome community. And as long as you guys trust me as helping and growing the good community, that is all the title I need. The original Combo Lord is what we can call me, and you guys are all of the new Combo Lords. So, in fact, Demotro is all the title I want. I like having a single name that can spread. So as long as Demotro starts getting written about in articles someday, I'm good to go. Someday we'll have a Demotro Wikipedia page or a Combo Class Wikipedia page, and then I will know I've made it. But I will never stop making it because we have a lot of things to explore in this world, and we have a lot of things to try. So, love you all so much. Now that it's literally been 3 hours, is that how long it's been? Yeah, it's literally been 3 hours, I think. So, we're going to cut off the stream here. You're all so awesome. Make sure to catch the new shorts I put out on this channel, as well as that new calendar episode on the main channel. I'll be back in a day or two with another stream, and there will also be some more shorts in the next few days for sure. If you want to catch me in the meantime, you can post something cool on the subreddit, or when I have time, I also pop by the Discord. So, thank you all. Catch you again very soon. Hope you have a